You slept 8 hours last night, maybe 9, and you woke up feeling like you had been awake the entire time. Someone in your life has a word for this: lazy, unmotivated, a little dramatic. And maybe you have started using those words on yourself because they are easier than saying the true thing, which is that you cannot explain it either. How do you tell somebody you are exhausted by a life that, on paper, is not that hard? But the tiredness you are carrying does not live in your muscles. It does not answer to a nap. It has been building for years, quietly, the way an electricity bill builds while nobody is watching the meter. Stay with me, because the diagnosis you have been handed is the wrong one. Here is what I want to put in front of you today. You are not weak, and you have not run out of willpower. You are running a system that never got permission to switch off. We are going to look at the psychology of people who feel quietly exhausted by life. Why sleep does not touch it. Why the things you used to love feel expensive now. And why this tends to happen to the people who cope the best. It is 7 in the evening, and you are standing in front of the open fridge. Not hungry, exactly. Just running the numbers on whether cooking is worth it. Cold air on your face. A small motor humming somewhere behind the shelves. 30 seconds pass. Then you close the door and eat something out of a packet standing up. Nothing happened today. That is the part that confuses you. No crisis, no fight, no bad news. You answered your messages. You were pleasant. You did the thing you said you would do. And somehow you came home with nothing left in your hands. This kind of tiredness has no address in the body. It is not in your legs. It sits behind your eyes and slightly to the left of wanting anything. And because it has no address, you cannot point at it. A broken ankle gets a cast and a chair and people carrying your bag. What do you get for this? A suggestion to go to bed earlier. Advice about vitamin D. Somebody asking, with real kindness, what you have got to be so tired about. So you stop mentioning it, which means you now carry the tiredness and the explaining of it. And the second one costs almost as much as the first. And here is what makes it so hard to defend. Sleep repairs the body. It does not unload the mind. You can give a tired body 8 hours and get a working body back. Give an overloaded mind 8 hours, and you get the same overloaded mind, now slightly better rested, and just as unwilling to open the laptop. You know that feeling, right? Rested and empty at the same time. Have you ever noticed you only hear the fridge when it stops? It runs all night. The hum sits under everything, so constant that your ear deletes it. Then the compressor cycles off, and the silence is so loud it wakes you up. You did not know you were listening until it ended. That is the closest thing I have to a description of what has been happening in you. The neuroscientist Bruce McEwen spent his career on this and gave it a name: allostatic load. The idea is simple once you hear it. Your body has a system for handling stress, and that system is not the problem. The problem is the wear that accumulates when the system is never allowed to power down. Not the emergency, the staying ready for one. And staying ready is exactly what you have been doing. Think about a normal Tuesday. You reread a message twice before sending it, softening one word so it would not land wrong. You held a neutral face in a meeting when your stomach dropped. You waited 3 seconds before answering your mother so your voice would come out level. You checked the room when you walked in, without deciding to. Each of those costs almost nothing. That is the trap. Nothing on the list is heavy enough to complain about. 100 of them a day, 5 days a week, 4 years running, and you have a motor that has not cycled off in a very long time. And notice what is not on that list. No disaster, no villain, no single moment you could point at and say, that is where it started. Just a long series of very small adjustments, each one reasonable, each one made by a person trying to keep things smooth. This is why the exhaustion feels illegitimate to you. You went looking for a cause big enough to justify it, could not find one, and concluded the problem must be your character. Nobody hears their own fridge. But here is where it gets strange, and this is the part people misread as a character flaw. Your friend texts about Saturday, something you would have loved 2 years ago, a concert, a long lunch, a drive somewhere, and your first thought is not yes. Your first thought is parking, then the drive, then the conversation on the way home when you are already finished. Then you type back that you might be free, which you both know means no. You are not avoiding your friend. You are pricing the evening. Researchers who study motivation look at exactly this. Michael Treadway and his work on effort-based decision-making ask a simple question. How does the brain weigh a reward against what it will cost to go and get it? And this is the thing that gets missed. In people running on empty, the reward has not disappeared. The concert would still be good. What has changed is the price tag attached to reaching it. There is a word for the flatter version of this: anhedonia. The dulling of pleasure, the sense that good things arrive slightly muted, like music through a wall. This is where people start calling themselves boring. I have stopped caring about anything, they think. But you have not stopped caring. You have started budgeting. There is a difference, and you can feel it if you look. You still want the thing. You simply cannot see where the fuel for it would come from. Watch how it shows up in the small choices. You leave the good coffee in the cupboard and make the instant, because the good one has 4 steps. You keep a film on your list for 11 months. You scroll instead of reading, not because scrolling is better, but because reading asks you to start something and scrolling does not. None of that is a preference. It is what a system does when it is protecting the last of the reserve. And does that not sound like someone being careful rather than someone being lazy? And here is the part that explains everything else. Somewhere along the way, someone told you they did not know how you managed it all, and you took it as a compliment. It was not a compliment. It was a job description, and you accepted it without reading the terms. Christina Maslach, the psychologist who built most of the modern research on burnout, found something that people still find hard to believe. Burnout does not arrive in people who never cared. It arrives in the ones who were engaged, who showed up, who kept going long past the point where a more sensible person would have stopped. Indifference protects you. Investment does not. In 2019, the World Health Organization put burnout in its international classification of diseases as an occupational phenomenon, and exhaustion sits right at the front of the definition. So the story you have been telling yourself, the one where you are the weak link, has the arrow pointing backwards. You are not tired because you gave less than everyone else. You are tired because you were the one who kept absorbing the difference, the reliable one. The one who noticed the mood in the room and adjusted before anyone had to ask. The one who handled it so that nobody else had to. You were rewarded for coping, so you got better at coping. And getting better at coping meant the load kept quietly rising, because nothing ever fell over. One honest note before I go further, because you deserve the practical version too. If this flatness has been sitting on you for months, or you have stopped being able to feel much of anything, please say it out loud. To a doctor or to one person you trust. Not because something is broken in you. Because exhaustion this deep is treatable. It responds to real help. And carrying it silently is the one strategy that has never worked for anyone. Now here is what I actually want you to take from this. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not lazy, and you are not weak, and you are not the person who quit early. You are somebody who has been running continuously for a long time in a life that kept giving you reasons to. A fridge that never stops running is not a broken fridge. It is a working one, doing exactly what it was built to do. In a room nobody ever let it cool down. The motor is fine. The motor is the reason everything inside stayed safe. It simply never got the silence, and that is what I want you to hear about the tiredness. It is not evidence of a defect. It is a bill. Bills arrive because something was used, and something was used because you kept it running for people who needed it running. I am not going to tell you this is beautiful, or that your exhaustion means you feel more deeply than other people. It does not. It just means you have been paying for longer than you have been resting, and the number finally became visible. But a bill can be paid down. Slowly, unglamorously, in smaller amounts than you think. Not a holiday, not a reset. Just a load that stops rising, and 1 hour, somewhere in the week, where nothing needs you and the motor cycles off. You do not need replacing. You need silence. So tell me which part of this you recognized. The fridge at 7 in the evening, the friend you said maybe 2, or the moment somebody called you reliable, and you felt tired instead of proud. Leave it in the comments. I read them, and I promise you are not the only one who wrote it. And tonight, if the house goes quiet and you notice the hum stop, Let it stay stopped for a while. Subscribe to keep decoding yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.